There are some folks out there who are, frankly, bearing false witness, but I want everyone to know what health insurance reform is all about. You've heard that this is all going to mean government funding of abortion. Not true. This is all. These are all fabrications that have been put out there in order to discourage people from meeting what I consider to be a core ethical and moral obligation.
That's just amazing, because virtually everything that we said at that time has been proven to be fact.
Mm-hmm.
And the person bearing false witness was him.
You know, I love listening to these guys give us lectures about debt and deficits.
Mm-hmm.
I inherited a $1 trillion deficit.
Here he is taking responsibility.
We had a surplus. They turned it into a deficit, built in a structural deficit that extends for decades.
I love that, the structural deficit. Where do you think that came from? That didn't come from a conservative. Go back to FDR and LBJ.
Yeah.
Those are the guys who created a structural deficit.
That's for sure.
And we inherited a $1 trillion deficit. We signed $2 trillion of spending cuts into law. I laid out a detailed plan for a total of $4 trillion in deficit reduction. My opponent won't admit it, but even when you account for the steps we took to prevent a depression and jumpstart the economy, right? So you include the Recovery Act, all the stuff we did to help states like Maryland, make sure that they didn't have to lay folks off and put people back to work. Even if you take that into account, spending under my administration has grown more slowly than
what a lie.
Under any president in 60 years.
Just an outrageous.
So,
lie. This is steak dinner one?
Yeah. Steak
that
dinner.
is infuriating when you know the facts behind that.
Outrageous lie.
This notion that somehow we caused the deficits is just wrong.
Yeah. They've only created $6 trillion of the deficit or the debt. Yeah. The deficit is $1 trillion a year under his tutelage. 1 trillion, over $1 trillion.
Oh, yeah.
It averages 1.4 trillion since he took over. And this notion is wrong? Really?
It's just not true. And anybody who looks at the math will tell you it's not true.
That's not true.
No.
Lying.
If they start trying to give you a bunch of facts and figures suggesting that it's true,
don't listen to it.
What they're not telling you is that they baked all this stuff into the cake with those tax cuts and a prescription drug plan that they didn't pay for, and the war. So all this stuff's baked in with all the interest payments for it. It's like somebody goes to a restaurant, orders a big steak dinner, martini, all that stuff, and then just as you're sitting down, they leave. And accuse you of running up the tab.
It wasn't funny, Clint. That was not funny.
No, it really wasn't. It's infuriating. It's mind-numbing stupidity. Let's see. We also have just a few more here to get through.
When the American auto industry was on the brink of collapse, more than 1 million jobs at stake, Governor Romney said, let's let Detroit go bankrupt.
No, he didn't.
I said, I believe in American workers. I believe in this American industry. And now the American auto industry has come roaring back. And GM's number one again.
Except they're not.
So now I want to do the same thing with manufacturing jobs. Not just in the auto industry, but in every industry. I don't want those jobs taking root in places like China. I want them taking root in places like Pueblo.
It's start to finish an ungodly lie. It's start to finish.
Oh, my God. So much in that
How does this guy wake up and be okay with himself in the morning?
That's a contender for victory. That's a dark horse.
That it really
because
is.
there's so many
much
errors in that one
Oh,
clip.
my gosh. We don't have time for it now, but because here's more.
And so the question in this election is, which way do we go? Do we go forward towards a new vision of an America in which
communism,
prosperity is shared, or do we go backward to the same
freedom.
policies that got us into this mess in the first place?
I mean, he describes this country as a mess.
Yep.
You know, I believe we have to go forward.
Yeah,
I believe we've got to keep working to create an America where no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, no matter what your last name is, no matter who you love,
Obama,
you can make it here if you try.
That's your last name. Obama.
That's what's at stake in November.
Okay, that was the impetus for last night's show.
Mm-hmm.
That statement right there, no matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from, what your last name is. And then we showed you all the weirdness of this guy. And it's unusual. He's had a unique life. Great. That's wonderful. But you became president of the United States with that unique background. How can you stand there with a straight face and say that it couldn't be done when you did it? Yeah, unbelievable.
And you do not have to take my word for it.
Okay.
Just today, an independent, nonpartisan organization ran all the numbers on Governor Romney's plan.
No, they weren't independent or nonpartisan.
This wasn't my staff. This wasn't
former staff.
something we did. Independent group ran the numbers.
Goes out of his way to say it wasn't my staff when it actually was his staff.
Former
staff
members.
Yeah.
2 former staff members and another partisan hack. And that's who came up with the report.
That's awful.
The lies are just incredible and so aggravating.
I have to say that the leadership has to begin not
too.
just with the president, but with his surrogates. I mean, the president is a very affable man. Anybody who interacts with him, you know, he generally doesn't have harsh words to say about folks. But his political operatives and the vice president may make a speech on the same day that the president appears, ripping the opposition to shreds, accusing them of being unpatriotic. So the question, I think, is whether the president is willing.
I mean, is that incredible?
Wow, that's a great one. Man, did he learn from that? Because that's exactly what he does.
It's exactly what he does. And then he, in fact, rather than disassociate himself from those or call them out on it, he backs him up.
Yeah.
He just backed up.
I mean, the Harry Reid one is the most incredible one.
Oh, the Harry Reid's unbelievable.
Harry Reid is out there saying, oh, well, we don't know. He's never
hasn't paid taxes in 10 years.
And he doesn't even come out and say, look, I want him to release his tax returns. You know, I'm sure he has paid, but he should release them.
He has a surrogate right now. Bill Burton?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Burton.
Dan Burton. You're maybe right.
Is it Dan or Bill?
It's his former press secretary.
Former deputy press secretary with a super PAC now, virtually calling Mitt Romney a killer because he took away this guy's insurance, and so his wife then died. Yeah, 3 years later, from a cancer that she decided she wasn't going to have looked into. She made all kinds of decisions along the way, and he doesn't call out that surrogate. That's an amazing clip.
You got one more, I think, don't you?
No.
One that I think is going to be the winner.
Which one?
I don't think you did. You didn't build that.
Which one? Oh,
yeah, no, we did skip that one. We have played it so much recently. Yeah, you skipped over that one.
You didn't build that?
That's
going to bring him down.
Yeah, you didn't build that.
I think that's going to bring him down.
Yeah, the reason I didn't play it was because there was so many sections to that, and then I forgot that you didn't build that was at the end of what we played the first part of it. Mm-hmm. So you didn't build that is in there too. So go ahead and vote now.
Well,
right?
no. What we'll do is we'll seed them and stuff today, and we'll give you the matchups
so
tomorrow.
You can't vote now?
You got nothing to do now. We'll put this together.
Don't have anything to do now? What am I going to do then for the next 24 hours if I don't have anything to do?
I don't care what you do. I mean, but I'm saying that the audience.
What is the audience going to do? What are they don't know what to do with themselves if they're not voting on the feed.
Just hang out quietly in the corner.
Oh, okay.
And don't say anything.
All right. Until tomorrow at this time? When you will then vote?
Yes, and you will vote. Maybe we do 2 matchups a day or something like that so we can move it along a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
But the most outrageous Obama clip, we're going to be doing a bracket here as we lead up to the election here on the 4th hour. See you tomorrow.